Joining me now, I have Congresswoman Laurel Lee, Republican from Florida. Congresswoman, always good to have you on. Thanks for being here.
Great to see you.
So is the ball now in Congress's court? And do you think you have enough votes to follow through with the president's order?
I do think that going forward, this will be a collaboration between President Trump's administration, the Department of Education as it exists, the Secretary, and Congress, and that we will work together. There is absolutely a shared goal in ensuring that we are doing what works best for America's students, and a vision that this is really by returning power to the states, to local governments, to the teachers who are in the classroom, who are really best equipped to assess the needs of individual students. The one-size-fits-all approach of the department, we see over the course of time, it really hasn't improved our outcomes for students. So I do anticipate that Congress will be working with the administration going forward to implement this vision.
I know a lot of supporters of this move have said this is not cutting education, it's just pivoting education back to the states instead of Washington. If that's the case, so nobody will feel any difference? No student, no teacher, no campus will feel anything different if the state is eventually in charge?
So President Trump and the Secretary were both very clear that essential programs could still exist and be managed and supported, but where necessary in different federal agencies. So the idea is that those programs that we need to keep at a federal level will be preserved and protected. But the difference that we expect will be felt in the classroom is the elimination of some of that bureaucracy, where teachers were having to spend time on compliance with the federal government, with responding to the bureaucracy itself, and that diverted resources and attention away from educating. That will be the difference that's felt in the classroom, but not an elimination of any essential resources.
Let me play some sound for you, ma'am. Delaware's Democratic Governor Matt Meyer, a former math teacher himself, said this to NewsNation after the president signed that order this week.
We're just hoping we stop cutting the bull and instead of cutting education. Right now in our state and in our country, we are not delivering. You look at educational outcomes in recent decades and certainly in recent years, we're not delivering as a country.
Right.
That means we need increased investment.
Yeah, he says schools are already underfunded, teachers are already underpaid. What do you tell the more than 80% of students and their families who rely heavily on federal assistance? And teachers, too. You know, I've heard from teachers who say, I voted for Trump, but I am worried about what this means for me and my kids.
Well, President Trump was clear that the essential programs like student loans, like programs for students with special learning needs will be preserved, but can be executed by different government agencies. And the other thing that's important is that a lot of those specific things you just mentioned are already happening at the state level. It is already the states who are setting some of the things like teacher pay, like some of those other metrics that we want to ensure that we are taking care of our educators. They are such an important piece of our country, and President Trump was very clear how much he cherishes them and values our teachers, our students, our learning outcomes. And I'll say one thing that we absolutely agree on there is that our learning outcomes are unacceptable, that we are falling behind, that America is spending more per pupil, but that we're not seeing the return on those dollars. So it's a clear indication, the evidence is there, that we need to approach this differently and coming at it from a local level where we can have education plans that are individually tailored to the students and their needs, empower teachers who are the ones who know the most about what our students need. And that's what this is designed to do.
Congresswoman Laurel Lee, always a pleasure to have you on. I got to end it there, but have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
You too. Great to see you again.
Yeah.